and welcome to a new Harry's Farm video. And it's been about 2 weeks since I last did a report from the farm, and in this one I'm going to bring you up to speed with what's been going on, because this is a very busy time of year and all sorts going on. But the one thing that's been glorious over the last few weeks is the weather. It's been a wonderful end to the summer. It got very wet, if you remember, in August, and it was causing all sorts of nightmares. But since about the 23rd of August, it's been fantastic. This is my field of oilseed rape. I am so proud of this field. It's quite close to the house, and I've walked this almost every day because I'm in slight disbelief of how good it is. You can see rows of oilseed rape. This has been in the ground about a month, and when we put it in, it was quite damp, and if you remember, we had those issues with the slugs, and we were right on it over that bank holiday weekend, and it did a really good job, and we got, it seemed to control them very well. And then since then, being dry, slugs don't like hot sunny weather like this, so they sort of disappear. I don't exactly know what happens, but they don't eat the top of the crop off. The next problem was cabbage stem flea beetle. And if I look down here, this is the sort of damage you get from cabbage stem flea beetle. You can sort of see there's a sort of peppered leaf there. That is a cotyledon leaf. And what's so exciting as a grower, these are known as true leaf. So we're well beyond the first true leaf coming out. We've got 3 or 4 true leaf now on the oilseed rape plants, and it's growing away from the little bit of cabbage stem flea beetle that we got this year. That wet August actually did this oilseed rape a favour, because there was enough moisture there to let it grow away. And this is a hybrid variety called Excited, strange name, but they always start with X something, the particular breeder who bred this variety of oilseed rape, hybrid variety. And you pay extra for the seed because it has extra vigour. So this is why this crop is really coming out of the ground. There's been no fertiliser, nothing on this field, just the insecticide and the slug pellets. But now we can treat it as a proper crop. And 2020, there was lots of talk, and I mentioned it in the videos, whether we're ever going to grow oilseed rape again. But I couldn't help, as a sort of business head, thinking I need an alternative break crop. If everybody's getting out of oilseed rape, maybe the prices would be quite good next season. And then the breeders started to do a guarantee on the seed. If you did buy it, and if you did get cabbage stem flea beetle, they'd give 80% of your money back. And that's why I took a gamble on it. And it seems to have paid off. And it was a proper gamble, because this field was in wheat, which is one of the last crops you combine. You normally grow an early variety of winter barley, so you can get the oilseed rape in good time in mid-August. But again, having our own combine really played into our hands this year, because it meant we got all the fields off before that rain arrived. And now we have this oilseed rape across the farm. I wish I could say every field looks like this. It doesn't, unfortunately. We're going to have a look at some other bits in a moment. But around 80% of what we put in the ground, this has been in 4 weeks. It was 21st, 22nd of August we were putting it in the ground, drilling it. So this is how it's growing up. The next job is actually, where can I show you, is to take some of this out. This is what we call volunteer wheat. If you look here, all this is bits and bobs coming out the back of the combine, a few fallen heads, and they're growing up. So it's had no weed killer on whatsoever. And actually tomorrow we will take out, it's called volunteers, take the volunteers out tomorrow, because you don't want them sucking more moisture out of the crop. You want to get all the nutrients and the soil moisture going into the oilseed rape so it can grow away. But I'm so chuffed to be going on, what date's it today? 21st of September, with a crop like this. This will continue to grow while the soil temperature is high, and it will really, what I want it to do now is to produce an even cover over the field, because the next thing that will attack the oilseed rape is pigeons. And that's what most farmers do over the winter, is put lots of scarers up, and crow scarers which imitate a shotgun banging off and annoy the neighbours. I've got some kites to go up and all that sort of thing. So, but that's a few months away, thank goodness. So anyway, this is this field. Now let's just go around some of the other bits on the farm. This is my biggest field of oilseed rape on the farm, and it's probably my worst, unfortunately. This is flag slat, this field's called, and this is where we had real difficulty with the wheat here. This is where it actually flooded out this particular area of the field. You can come in the gateway over there and think, oh, it's good, the rape's fantastic, and then you walk down to this patch and there's no plants left. This is the slugs really got this area. This is a heavier soil here, and the slugs, it's not as compact as I would have liked it. We did roll it with those heavy rolls, but basically the trouble with slugs, when they get the plants early, they take every one. So there's a poor moth-eaten oilseed rape plant there. Is there another one anyway? That's a weed, that looks like a thistle to me. Oh, there's another one. Feel awful almost taking this out of the ground, but I think so you can sort of see, look at that thing. So it's just about to survive the slug, and then the cabbage stem flea beetle is giving it a proper hard time because there isn't the density of plants around here for the flea beetle to go and eat. So they find one and they absolutely muller it. Now I've got to get that through the winter and to harvest, and that's going to be a bit of a struggle. So what we're going to do on this area is to sow some additional rape seeds through that spinner, how I intended to do it. So my next job after doing this video is actually back in the yard, putting the spinner on the front of the tractor and coming down here. My dilemma is, do I use the straw rake behind just to incorporate a bit of soil on the plant? Because I'd quite like that poor guy's got through everything to continue to grow and hopefully, you know, get to be a proper plant. And if I put that straw rake on, well, I'm going to muller that. I'll only rely on the seed I'm putting in. And today's date being, well, 21st of September, the rain is due in 2 days' time. So I've been waiting to put this extra seed on until it was going to rain. And we've had 2 weeks of glorious weather. Anyway, so that's typical dilemma. So that's why I'm saying at the moment I've got 80% crop cover with the oilseed rape. But if I look at the stats, this is this week's Farmers Weekly. Small oilseed rape crop looks good with low beetle damage. If you look at 2020, we only harvested 320,000 hectares, I think, in the UK, down from 530 in 2019, 580 in 2018. And if you look in the copy, they say certificate seeds are running at 25 to 30% lower due to delayed harvest of winter wheat. So we're not even expecting 320 hectares of oilseed rape in the ground. And that's why I just think I'm very lucky to have any rape, even if it's only 80% of what we planted in the ground. And if I can just make up, say, 10% by spinning some seed on here, this rain comes later in the week, we might just fill in these patches of a heavier soil and it will grow away and it'll be slightly better. That's what's going on the oilseed rape front. Right, I'm going to take you to some other fields, just where we were, where the winter wheat's going next, and we've just been working on those today. Well, you might be wondering what on earth's going on in this field. This field was actually one of the winter linseed fields, and as you can see, it's all gone a bit rogue, as it might say. What happened, we combined the field, and then I came in with that straw rake, I don't know, end of July, beginning of August, I suppose. And the idea of that straw rake is just to get rid of any weed seeds that might grow, just mix them with the soil, and you hopefully get a bit of rain, and then that'll grow, and then you use Roundup and remove any weed seeds. Because what we're trying to do, we do min-till. We don't plough on this farm. So you would have controlled, if you've got weed seeds like this growing, old style would have been to plough all the ground up. The disadvantages of ploughing are it burns an awful lot of diesel, and if you're worried about CO2, it's not a good thing, because you plough it and then you have to cultivate it to make a seed bed, and there's lots more of tractor movements up and down the field. And worms don't really like being suddenly turned upside down their world, and they get a pretty high death rate from cultivators going through and the plough as well. Now it's all about soil health and minimal disturbance to the soil, so all the microbes and worms can do their job without being turned upside down every year. So this is all min-till. So you then end up relying heavily on glyphosate, which everybody seems to get upset about, but it is a key management tool in modern farming because of this. Because what happens after I put the straw rake through here, we had all that rain in August, perfect growing conditions, and every weed seed grew. And you end up with this sort of look here, which I don't sort of mind because this is almost like green manure. So we were in here this morning, my contractor John Walker is in here, spray this off with Roundup Max, and then this will all die down. We might do a small bit of cultivation just to incorporate it slightly to make it clean for the drill. So it just looks weird when you look at a field like this. You think, yeah, this is going into winter wheat, first wheat, when all it looks like is almost scrubland. But this is the sort of the weirdness of modern farming. You don't get those perfectly brown fields after ploughing that look super neat. And it's much more picturesque than a bit of a green mess like this. But it's like green manuring, that's what we call it. So that's what's going on in here. We've sprayed everything out and we're actually starting drilling winter barley next week, end of next week probably. And it's great that we're now looking at 2021. Anyway, one more thing I want to show you, and that's in the grain store. Well, this is the grain store. I think last time you were here it was stuffed full of grain, but I loaded my last lorry this morning. And this is what's left, and you might think, oh no, you've got some left. Well, actually, I'm really chuffed I've got some left. Because the next job, next Monday, they're coming out to dress the seed out, and I'm going to grow this variety again because it's done so well, and I'm really chuffed. You probably can't see in this light, but it all went for top quality milling this year. Made such a difference to the farm accounts that has, because we're selling, well, I get a pool price. I don't actually know the price yet, but around £180 a tonne. And the same quality wheat last year was selling for about £140 a tonne. So a significant increase because of such a hopeless harvest, low yields, and then all that August rain. Fortunately, as you know, we got this in before that rain arrived, and it's been top spec. And the milling price today is about £195. I don't know what we're going to fetch for this. I actually get paid 28th of October, and that's when I'll find out what the pool price has been. But I've got enough here to dress this out again for seed. And so on Monday, I've got CYO coming, and we'll dress this out, and I want the plumpest grain possible. So I'll be quite hard on the seed dresser, taking out the thinner grains, because plump grains give you more vigour and they give more yield at the end of it. There's been good trials on it. And also 12 loads we've had out of here, 29 tonnes. It's there as damn it, 350 tonnes. If this is, I think there's about 18 tonnes here. 370 tonnes puts us at 2.3 tonnes to the acre. And at 180 pounds, that's about 420 pounds per acre output. And that's all right. I want it at 500, but it's not the disaster that we were looking at going into harvest due to its such high quality. So it could have been a lot worse, I have to say. The one letdown this year is obviously the winter linseed, because that was just a disaster. This is 420 pounds an acre output. The linseed was about 120 pounds an acre output, which is my worst ever crop, I think, in farming history. But on to 2021, oilseed rate, so chuffed that that's away. Barley going in end of next week, dressing this out for seed next week as well. Suddenly, all the focus is on 2021. There you go. So that's what's going on Harry's farm. Quite a busy time, but I hope you enjoyed this video. More videos coming along very soon.